ark should be 300 cubits. Okay. Now we know that Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. Now there are two measurements for cubits. We have what's called an Egyptian cubit, and we have something called a Hebrew or a Jewish cubit size. Okay, and there's a difference. Now the Egyptian cubit is generally recognized as having been the most universal standard of linear measurement in the very ancient world, and was standardized by a royal master cubit of black granite, against which all the cubit sticks in use in Egypt were measured at regular intervals. The royal cubit was 20.62 inches. 20.62 inches. So according to that, then 300 cubits will give us basically 515 feet, or to be precise, 515 feet and 7 inches. So just to give you a comparison, this is what they're saying the ark would have looked like compared to a double-decker bus, a house, and an elephant and people. So 300 royal Egyptian cubits equals 515 feet. Compared to a football field, it was not a small boat. So what they did was they measured this shape, and guess what they found? Exactly 515 and a half feet. Is that a coincidence? So does the length match the Bible? So the Bible tells us, okay, that it should be 515 and a half feet, and the length of what they found at that site was exactly 515 and a half feet. Perfect match. 300 cubits. Now the Bible describes, okay, that the width of the Bible should have been 85 foot 9 inches, but they actually found that the width was wider. Now the reason why they believe it was wider is because they believe that as the mud flow came over the boat, it crushed the boat and it splayed open. Okay, so the width won't necessarily be the exact width as what contained in the Bible because it's been splayed over, but however the length of the boat has not been affected. Now the story goes that when he sent the dove out, the dove came back with an olive leaf. Now it's interesting, this is where, okay, they found, this is where they found the boat, sorry, but this is where they think it originally came, the boat. And they think that the boat was originally one place and it slid with the lava flow to its present location. But what they found was they looked at the different places around the boat. Here's a village, right, and it's called The Crow Won't Land. Okay, here's another one, Voluntary Pilgrimage. Here's another one, Hero's Bed, i.e. where the heroes came from. Here's another one, okay, High Place. Another one called Judgment Slope. This one here, To Make a Presentation of the Sacrifice. These are all names of villages. This one here, this place, where the oars were reversed. And then you've got a place here called the Village of 8 or the Place of 8. So they found that all these villages nearby, they had names that corresponded to the story of Noah's Ark. This is a picture of the Valley of 8. Why the Valley of 8? How many were in the boat? 8 people. Village called Where the Boat Slowed, high in the mountains. Now the Bible shows that metals were used before the flood. Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and he lived before the flood. Now it's interesting, okay, that this has been quite well researched. But when they've gone into the pyramids, they've noticed that in the pyramids they did not find any soot. You know when you have a flame torch, it gives off soot. They did not find soot in the pyramids. And then some people found hieroglyphics of what they saw as giant light bulbs connected to something. And they've also found ancient batteries that gave power. So there is a theory that during this time that they were very advanced in technology. You take any culture, you take the Hindu culture, in the Hindu culture, in their traditions, they had airplanes. In the pyramids they found little models of aircrafts. So they did something unusual. They took metal detectors, 3 different metal detectors, and they went across the boat and they found regular patterns of metal. They then did the metal detector readings outside of the formation, around the area, and guess what they found? Nothing. No metal. They only found metal readings on that particular formation. And they found that there was a regular pattern going along the boat and across the boat. Now Josephus, what's he got to say? Flavius Josephus, the AD 90, the famous Jewish historian, stated, its remains are shown there by the inhabitants to this day. He quotes Berosus the Chaldean, 290 BC, who indicated tourists would take home pieces of the ark for making good luck charms. It is said there is still some part of this ship in Armenia at the mountain of the Chaldeans, and that some people carry off pieces of the bitumen which they take away and use chiefly as amulets for the averting of mischiefs. These comments tend to indicate its location would not be in an inaccessible area. At some point the ark was covered by mud and lava flow, which caused future generations to lose its location. They did recordings and they found a fossilized rivet. They took this to a laboratory and they found that this rivet contained 3 types of metals. It had titanium, aluminium, and manganese. These metals combined together make a modern day alloy. How do we find this on an ancient boat? Did no one really understand how to use alloys? But that's what they found. Fossilized rivets. Even today there's been independent researchers have gone to the boat and they found rivets. They've taken metal detectors and it's positive. They've taken samples, taken to laboratories, and they've found titanium, aluminium, and manganese. These are some of the things they found from the site. And some of these materials have been tested to contain large amounts of iron. Aluminium, titanium, manganese, and carbon. Now the Turkish government did some of their own excavations and they found 4 metal rods that they've tested themselves and confirmed to be metal. And here they believe this is how they use the rivets to hold down the woods and the joints for the boat. These are what they think are ribs of the ship. And again, metal readings along the side showed the same regular pattern of iron. They've done radar scans, and again the radar scan shows a consistent boat-shaped formation. They did their computer model, and this is what they think looks underneath the soil. And this is what they think possibly the boat would have looked like. Far different to the eyewitness accounts of a large barge. Now some scientists have said if you had a large barge 515 feet and you put that in the ocean, it would break in half. It would not be able to withstand the pressures of the sea. This is what they think the boat could have looked like here. Then they did some more radar scan and they found a piece of deck timber, which is that one here. And this is what it looked like, and they had it tested and they found it to be carbon. They also found that it was plywood. They found 3 layers of wood with some kind of glue. And what they found was, they found that this wood was petrified. Petrified means it's no longer pure wood, but it's like rock. But they found it to have high contents of carbon, and they had 3 separate layers within this sample.